In my early teens, I was like any other kid my age, curious, daring, and perhaps a bit reckless. You'd think growing up as the daughter of Kerry Colkins, the famous psychic and white witch, I would have known better than to dabble with things I didn't fully understand. But the truth is, curiosity has a way of clouding judgment, and one faithful night, my curiosity led me into an experience that would forever change the way I viewed the unseen world. It was a typical Saturday night. A few friends had come over and we were feeling adventurous, as teenagers do. Someone had the bright idea to bring out an old Ouija board they'd found in their attic. At first it seemed harmless enough. We laughed, dared each other to ask silly questions like, who will we marry and will we be rich? We were just having fun, so we thought. Soon enough, the atmosphere in the room began to shift. The playful giggles faded, replaced by an uncomfortable stillness. A cold draft swept through the room, even though the windows were tightly shut. The air felt thick, like it was charged with something none of us could explain. We placed our hands on the planchette, which is the little disc you use to move around on a Ouija board. Some people use a glass, but we were using a little planchette, expecting nothing but hoping for something. At first it barely moved, sluggish and reluctant. We thought that it was just our friends moving it. We thought one of us was pushing it, so we laughed it off. But then, without warning, it began to move more forcefully, almost like it had a will of its own. My stomach churned as excitement mingled with a deep, unshakable sense of fear. "Who are you?" one of my friends asked nervously. The planchette slowly spelled out a name none of us recognised, but the unease in the room thickened. Suddenly the candles we'd lit flickered violently, their flames twisting and bending as if something unseen was breathing over them. A cold sensation swept through the room, wrapping around us like a creeping fog. One of my friends gasped, saying she felt a hand brush her shoulder, even though no one was near her. The hair on the back of my neck stood up. We all sat frozen, unsure of what to do next. My heart raced, and I watched in horror as the planchette began spinning in circles before abruptly stopping on the word goodbye. We were frightened, but being teenagers, we still didn't fully take it seriously. We laughed it off again, blaming our vivid imaginations. Yet, when I tried to sleep that night, I couldn't shake the eerie feeling that something was watching me. My dreams were filled with dark figures, lurking just beyond the edges of my mind. I woke up drenched in sweat, but the uneasy feeling followed me into the daylight. The next day, things escalated. Objects in my room began to move on their own. My bedside lamp flickered, despite the fact that the bulb had just been replaced. The feeling of being watched was constant, a presence lurking in the shadows, silent but definitely there. My usual calm and collected teenage self was shaken. Something had changed and it wasn't going away. That's when I knew I had to tell my mum. Despite my embarrassment, I explained everything to her, the séance, the Ouija board, and the strange occurrences that had followed. Mum listened patiently, her face showing no surprise. She had dealt with the unseen forces surrounding us for decades. "Darling," she said, "you've invited something in. Spirits can be playful, but not all are friendly. When we use things like Ouija boards or hold séances, we open a door and we don't always know what's on the other side." My heart sank. "What should I do?" I asked, feeling helpless. Mum reassured me there was no need to panic, but that I needed to act quickly to protect myself. She gave me a simple protection spell, one she had used many times before to shield myself from any lingering negative energies. That afternoon we prepared together. Mum handed me a white candle, its soft glow symbolising protection and purity. She also gave me a small pouch filled with salt, lavender and sandalwood, explaining how each ingredient would cleanse the space and drive away any unwanted energy. The final piece was a small amethyst crystal, which she said would act as a guardian for my energy moving forward. We sat in my room, the air still thick with the presence that had been troubling me. Mum guided me through the protection spell. First, I sprinkled the salt around the perimeter of my room, creating a protective barrier. Then I lit the white candle and held the amethyst crystal in my hand. Closing my eyes, I focused on filling the room with pure, protective energy. Mum instructed me to repeat this following incantation. By the light of this flame, I cleanse this space. Only good shall remain, negativity erased. With this salt, lavender and crystal in hand, protected I stand, in the light I command. As I spoke, I imagined all the fear and darkness that had clung to me lifting away, replaced by a sense of calm and safety. The air around me seemed to lighten, and the oppressive feeling of being watched disappeared. After the spell, Mum reminded me of an important lesson. Curiosity is natural, she said, but it's important to respect the boundaries of the spirit world. Always protect yourself and never take these things lightly. From that day forward, I was far more cautious about engaging with the unknown. I learned to respect the Ouija board and the energies it could summon. It wasn't a game, and I would never treat it as one again. The experience, though terrifying at the time, taught me an invaluable lesson about the power of the energies we invite into our lives. Thankfully, my mother's guidance and with a little spell work, I regained control and found peace once more. But the memory of that night lingers, a reminder that the unseen world is very real and not something to be taken lightly.